Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Martin Willis, your host. I'm real excited about tonight's guest. Actually, it's a pre-recorded show, and I just love doing face-to-face interviews. And this was the case in Sedona. And I got to tell you, I had such a great time. I mentioned it on last couple days ago on Tuesday night show, but it was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of like-minded people. It's always enjoyable. And the area, Sedona, is just, here's a couple of pictures, and I'll also put these pictures in the show notes for those of you listening on audio. So this is called Bell Rock. And so here's a picture here, my producer, Donna, and Travis Walton, and Matt, who came to meet me. There were three people. Ron, Joel, and Matt, thank you guys for coming to meet me. A shout out to you. And also a shout out to anyone that may be new, because a lot of people in Sedona said they were going to start listening to the show. So thank you for that. And you're welcome to join in chat. It's always a lot of fun in there. This was the panel at the end. It was really interesting. And you know what I thought? My producer said as we were on our way home, no one asked this panel what they thought about the 3-eye atlas, because there's so many weird things going on in the internet around circulating about that. I got to say, Jennifer Stein put on one heck of a conference. It was really, really worth going to. And a couple things. So I wanted to just talk about, first of all, our, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back and just identify these people for the person watching. So if you're facing the screen from left to right, we have Melinda Leslie, Ron James, Dr. J.J. Hurtick, Travis Walton, of course, David Childress, Don Schmidt, and Jennifer Stein. So speaking of Don Schmidt, that is, next week, next Tuesday, is going to be a pre-recorded show. And I've had probably 10 conversations over the years with Don Schmidt. And I have to say, this one-on-one that we had in Sedona is my absolute favorite. I hope you tune in for that next Tuesday. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel. And if you want to support the show, anyone can do that at patreon.com. For $2 or more a month, you can get an ad-free experience in the audio. And so check that out over at Podcast UFO. Also is our weekly blogs. Encounters on the Roads of Spain by Charles Lear is this last week's. So how it's going to work tonight is I'm going to play a clip of Travis Walton receiving the MUFON Canada and America Lifetime Achievement Award. And someone, I did post the full video. This is a clip of it. Some people said, well, what did he achieve? Well, I'll tell you one thing he achieved is he didn't fall apart after he had his experience. He's kept exactly the same story. I said this last week. I listened to an interview with him just a couple of weeks after the incident. And then you listen to an interview today and it's exactly the same. And it's such a bizarre thing too, the way everything happened. If someone was going to make up a story, it would be much simpler than that, I do believe. But anyway, I'm going to play the clip. Like I said, this is Travis Walton. It's a shortened version. The full version is on my YouTube channel under shorts or reels. And right after that, I'm going to be playing the great interview with Stacy. And so remember, next week it's Don Schmidt on Tuesday and Irina Scott will be on Thursday. All right, everyone, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor a man whose story has echoed across generations, across continents, and across the very boundaries of belief. A man who didn't choose the spotlight, but whose life was forever changed by it. Nearly 5 decades ago, Travis Walton vanished from the Arizona wilderness. For 5 days, the world held its breath, and when he returned, he carried with him a story that would challenge science, shake skeptics, and ignite a global conversation about what lies beyond. Unlike many in the UFO community, Travis never sought fame. He didn't step forward. He was thrust forward. As Travis Walton reminds us that courage isn't just surviving the extraordinary, it's standing by it year after year with grace, humility, and unshakable authenticity. Tonight, we celebrate not just the man who lived the experience, but the man who lived with it, who carried it, who honored it. It is no easy feat to walk in Travis Walton's footsteps, but because he did, the world is forever changed. And so, on behalf of MUFON Canada and MUFON United States, we are proud to present Travis Walton with the Lifetime Achievement Award for his unwavering dedication to truth, his resilience in the face of doubt, and the legacy he leaves behind. May this award be recorded with respect. May Travis's experience be remembered with accuracy, and may his integrity inspire generations to come.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Martin. It's good to be back with you.
Remember how many years ago it's been?
Yeah.
I know Graham Hancock can be a little bit controversial, but I like him, and I think he's really great when he's diving into, you know, all this ancient things that make so much sense.
He's smart and he's really good at defending his theories and everything.
Yes,
so, yeah.
that's well said. I think he is very good at defending his theories when he's often attacked.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and it's things that are hard to prove, but, you know, I think realistically, I think a lot of our history books are going to be rewritten over the years.
I hope so. They absolutely need it, and especially the archaeology side. I mean, you can't really argue with what we're finding as far as the dating of everything.
That's right.
And, you know, how can you argue with when you have your hand on an artifact?
That's right.
Yeah.
And there was a story about this several years ago. This woman archaeologist that discovered something that didn't fit the agenda, and she was basically blackballed. She said it would have been okay if it was something 20,000 years, but this was like 200,000 years.
Oh, yeah.
And she was basically blackballed for talking about it.
Yeah,
And
academia does not forgive very easily.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's millions of us that believe that the history books do need to be rewritten. They were written from the viewpoint of the conquerors, always.
Always.
And there's just
Written
so much
by the
more,
victors, as they say. Yeah.
So much more to the story.
Yep.
And, you know, like Graham Hancock says, things just keep getting older.
Yeah.
And it can be proven now. So, yeah, it's just really interesting.
Yeah. So, how did your journey go? You know, you read the books, you got interested, and how did your journey go into getting involved with, say, MUFON and other things, any other things?
Well, you know, I just kept reading, and I thought, you know, living in Phoenix, this world-class city, they had the Phoenix Lights happen there. There's got to be some great UFO meeting happening here. You know, as nutty as it could be, I thought, I want to go to one of those. So I started looking around.
Do you mind if I just stop you here? So you talk about the Phoenix Lights. Were you in Phoenix when that happened?
I lived in Phoenix when it happened, but I did not see it.
Yeah.
Did not see it. I had to have someone from out of state call me up and say, hey, what happened in Phoenix last night? You know, there was a UFO or something. I'm like, what? So,
Wow.
I did not witness it, but, you know, we're still talking about it there.
Yeah. Okay, so continue. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So I just was looking for a meeting, and I found this crazy sounding group called MUFON, and I thought, well, you know, I'll write to them and say, hey, how come there's no meetings going on? So I didn't know at the time that I was writing to the executive director of MUFON, but he wrote back to me and said, yeah, it's lain dormant for 7 or 8 years there. We don't know why, but give me a couple weeks and we're going to try to get a meeting going. So they did that. I attended that first meeting, and they were looking for someone to become field investigator and maybe start up a new chapter there in Phoenix. And there was about 4 people at this first meeting that I went to, and I thought, well, I can probably do that. I've never ran a meeting before or spoken in front of people, but I thought, I can probably do this.
Yeah.
So I raised my hand, and it just kind of started from there. And we've grown from, I think we've been through 6 different venues now. We keep outgrowing the venues, and now we're anywhere from 150 up to 275 people at each of our monthly meetings.
Oh.
So it was a success story, and I think the area was just ready for something again. So.
And you just said, unfortunately, the venue has been flooded out, and that changed a couple things.
Right now there was some flooding that happened with these recent heavy rains that we've had in September. So it affected the auditorium where we meet, and it's under restoration right now. And of course, it's a state-run facility. We're at the Arizona Historical Society Museum.
Oh.
So being a state-run thing, you've got to put all that out to the vendors for bid. It's a very slow process.
Yeah.
And so they've shut us down for a couple of months. We won't be back in there until January of 26.
And there was going to be a Travis Walton event.
Yeah, Travis's 50th anniversary of his event here in the mountains would have been on November 5th.
Right, yeah.
And so we happened to have asked him to come and speak at the Phoenix MUFON meeting for November 8th, and we had a big deal planned there and a big dinner reception afterward. It all had to be canceled.
Yeah.
All of it. So
now, were you going to present? Well, we'll talk about the presentation last night.
Okay.
But was it going to be presented at that time?
Yes, it was.
All right, so why don't we talk about this? I did post, anyone can look at my YouTube channel, and I did post the video up there of you presenting Travis. So let's talk about how that all came about, and the, is it called the Lifetime Achievement Award?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so anyway, it was wonderful to see Travis so moved.
It was.
Yeah.
And anything less than a Lifetime Achievement Award would have been silly for this man, because 50 years of going through everything that he did and standing by it, and story never changing, and it's just the most genuine thing you've ever heard.
Yeah.
So of course he had to have something, that would accommodate him that way. So we were lucky enough to, have the Skyfire Summit happening, and we decided to just present everything here. And Sedona MUFON has done a great job of making this all happen here. And so it was he actually received 3 awards last night.
Yes.
And it was just wonderful to see all that happening for him. And yeah, it was pretty moving for everyone. I barely finished that without, having a couple tears come along for me too. But yeah, it was a beautiful moment.
It was moving for everyone there.
Good.
And I have to tell you, I have to tell the audience, when I introduced Travis and Jennifer Stein at the event here, and what I put across was that, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, Donna, my producer, and I were driving along and had a long drive ahead of us. And so I looked at Eyes on Cinema, and I found Travis Walton's original first interview in 1975. I think it was right after, very shortly after. And we listened to that thing, and it's just like he's telling the story today. There is nothing embellished. There's nothing changed. I mean, that's, and I also want this point to make, I want to make this point as well to anyone who's a naysayer, and that is, just think of this logically. If you were going to say, oh look, I was, I was abducted and I was gone all this time, blah, blah, blah. You would make it very simple if you were making it up.
Yeah.
His details about, his being in pain when he wakes up, what he thinks is an operating table, the people above him, that he realized that weren't doctors after a while, grabbing the rod type thing, trying to, get them away, their stare at him, like controlling him with, trying to control him with their stare, the fact that he could hardly breathe, then this person that looked like a person shows up with like a fishbowl helmet, and then walk him into another room where he sees other people without the helmets. I'm just saying these details are so intense, and how could you couldn't even imagine something like that.
Right.
So I think that gives a lot of credibility. Just so it's such an unusual encounter.
It does. This guy went through so much, and he recalls so greatly the detail on this.
Yeah.
But it's very simple in its telling, and it just comes across. You just know that he is one of those salt of the earth people, Travis Walton. He's just full of integrity. So yeah, you have to believe him.
Yeah, I've had a lot of, we try to get away from that noise, and the noise seems to be following us. Sorry, everyone.
There's kids.
So it really, I've asked some questions like, do you remember using the bathroom? What was that like?
Yeah.
No, he didn't remember any of that.
Right.
I asked him about smells. He said, no, all I remember was really hard to breathe.
Yeah.
You know,
He
very,
said he
very.
was suffocating. It felt
Yeah.
like, you know, the oxygen level might have been low, and he talks about his fear level, and you know, you could imagine that too, and his level of surprise when he came to.
Yep.
And then, you know, and it does sound like maybe they gave him some humanoid-looking people that wouldn't scare him as much as the
Right.
gray beings that he was seeing.
Yeah.
Or there could have just been different extraterrestrial species working together too. You know, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. And you know, you also think about food. He was gone 5 days.
yeah.
But that's kind of a gray area, because maybe he wasn't gone 5 days to him, but he did have beard growth when he came back.
Yes.
So, you know, but maybe the time was different somehow.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think our
time's
time is
involved
different.
here somehow.
Yeah.
There's some type of correlation between time and all these things going on. I do believe. That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
my own theory. But you know, just the fact that he thought he was gone for, you know, a few hours. He
Yeah.
didn't know that he was gone.
And he
for,
wasn't depleted in any way. He said he felt
Yeah.
fine. He came out of it better than he thought that he went into it.
Yeah.
I've talked with him personally, and he says he felt like he's enhanced because of the situation.
Yep. And he was
So-
worried about health issues for a long time, but
Yeah.
his health is good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yep.
He came out of it stronger.
Yeah.
So it's an
Yeah.
amazing story.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And you know, he's not someone that's like prone to get into other. You know, I had a conversation with him recently. He's not prone to really look at other cases so much, other than his. But he's also had a couple of UFO sightings himself
Yeah.
since that time, which is, you know, and it was hard for him to talk about because he's worried about it somehow affecting the aspect of his credibility.
Yeah.
So I understand
yeah,
all
I can
that.
see that. There's
Yeah.
still a lot of giggle factor out there that
Yeah.
people have, and it's just really sad that they can't be a little more open-minded, but it exists.
Now, you're here in this wonderful, beautiful place where you can see miles and miles and miles. What's the activity like?
Well, you know, the Sedona area seems to always be a hot spot.
Yeah,
And, you know, if you've ever been here and visited, you see the red rocks everywhere. You know that there's a lot of magnetism going on here. That's iron oxide leaching out of the hillsides. So there's a lot of magnetism here. So we have always wondered, is it the magnetics that maybe is drawing the craft in here? What could it be? You know, there's the vortex sites that they have here, and
Yeah.
I've felt that myself. I'm not the kind of person that usually feels real sensitive to stuff like that, but there's one location here that has pretty much made me keel over the 3 times that I've visited it. So there's something going on here. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what it is, but those vortex sites really do have some kind of feeling to them, some kind of magnetics. It's kind of strange. So fun, but strange.
yeah. Now, I use ChatGPT quite a bit for different things, questions
Okay,
and stuff.
uh-huh.
And when David Childress was talking yesterday, I looked up a lot of his stuff that he was talking about live, real time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I looked up when I was coming out here, vortexes. And there's like 5 or 6 places. There's some type of bridge they talk about. There's several places where they say one of them is a ranch,
Yes, Bradshaw Ranch.
Bradshaw Ranch.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, there's Bradshaw Ranch. There's the airport, which I went and visited myself this
The
morning.
airport. That's
up
right.
there. Yeah.
Yep. It said the airport. Yes.
Yeah, so I sat up there and watched the planes come and go for a little while this
Yeah.
morning. So yeah, there's Bradshaw Ranch, and there's another hiking spot on the way up to the airport that's supposed to have some kind of something going on up there too. I haven't ever felt anything there, but yeah, it's loaded with believers, visitors from all parts of the world are here. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a little bit of everything going on. It's kind of like Disneyland.
Yeah.
And Sedona is not a large town, but it seems like it is because it's just busy with tourists.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
You have the pink Jeep tours going by.
Oh, I saw
and,
that. Yeah.
And you have the nighttime sky watching tours, and there's just
Yeah.
a little bit of everything going on here.
Right.
But
right.
it's a fun place, and you know, if that's what it takes to bring people here and maybe learn a little bit more about the subject and get a little more educated, then great.
Yeah.
Come see it.
And it's funny, I've had 2 or 3 listeners to the show. Shout out to them. Oh God, I don't remember their names right now. But they came here. They came here specially because they knew that I was going to be here, and they came to meet me, which was
Nice.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And so I always love, running into it, because I always ask them, how'd you find my show? That's important to me. How do people find my show?
Yeah.
And most of them say, I don't really remember.
just was looking up UFO stuff, and there you were.
Yeah. It's pretty easy if you're looking for a podcast and
Right.
you're looking at on
UFO
UFOs. I did
podcast.
that purposely,
It
of
makes
course.
it nice and clear. Yeah.
The only reason I didn't name my show UFO Podcast because that URL was taken.
Okay.
But anyway, so why, let's talk, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little scattered here, but I want to talk about the Phoenix Lights.
Okay.
There was actually someone that was going to come up here and meet with me. I haven't seen him, and maybe he'll show up today. That was one of the witnesses, and he's been on a number of shows and things like that. But about the Phoenix Lights, is there still a lot of controversy about that? I mean, I know it was so long ago, 1997, March 13th.
Right.
But is there still a lot of controversy about the flares and all that?
Yeah, you've got a mixed bag of believers on this. But it's people that really haven't looked into the timeline of what was happening in that day or so surrounding the Phoenix Lights.
Yeah.
What happened is really at 8:30 at night is when the lights showed up. Okay, and then there was the big sighting that you see on TV where hear the guy in the background that says, "Major sighting here."
Yes.
10 p.m. That's 10 p.m. And that is when Operation Snowbird was going on down in Tucson at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, and they were dropping illumination flares at that time.
That's right.
They had a maneuver that they were doing, and they just said, oh, it just all tied into this. No, those were flares that everyone saw. No, the main sighting was 8:30, not 10 p.m. So, you know, knowing that we do know how to tell time makes a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was there was tens of thousands of people that were witness to this, and there was over 1,000 911 calls that came in.
Yeah.
And so it was really well documented. Not everyone had a cell phone back then. It was hardly ever did anyone have any kind of a phone like that with a camera on it.
But they did have a few people did have video
people
cameras.
had video, yeah. And we've come across some new footage just recently from a whole fire department that was close to Prescott that was out there witnessing it. So we're in the process of getting this information right now. So Marianne Robb might be your person to ask about that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's on that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, there were so many people that saw things. We have different stories. We still have stories coming in all the time. We probably have 3 or 4 people reporting it in now saying, you know, I saw that back then, but I just felt like I could not say anything back then. Something told me to just be quiet. I could not report that in.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, I want to tell you about this. So we're still getting pieces of the puzzle, and we're hoping to combine all that, you know, with the database that we have, and maybe, you know, fix that puzzle a little bit, you know, see what we can get out of it. But it was still something that was not felt by anyone to be harmful. It was very peaceful. There was people that had messages that said, sit still and just watch. So it was a display of some sort, and we don't know, you know, there's a lot of people that say, well, it came from the corner of Nevada down there. That's where Area 51 is, and it came all the way across the state. It had to be something at Area 51 that got loose.
Yeah.
Okay, so it got loose? Was it something of ours that we were keeping super secret, you know, and they decided to fly it across the city just to see what the reaction was?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of silly if they were trying to keep it that secret.
Right.
If it was ET stuff that was housed at Area 51, then yeah, did it just get loose? And they decided to take a joyride down the freeway because they could see all the lights. They kind of followed the freeway all the way through Arizona, which is interesting to me. So, you know, we just don't know exactly what that was, but
well, when
we
you
just
hear
know that it was.
Peter Davenport has talked on my show here a number of times about some people thinking that it might have been 8 miles wide.
Right.
And that's the thing that sounds crazy.
But a lot of the accounts say how super large this was.
Yeah.
Just so large that you can't even wrap your head around it.
Do you
I'd love to see something like that, you know.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Do you think the pilot that was totally shooken up, that land, I guess he was uncontrollably shaken up.
Had to be helped off the tarmac.
Yeah.
Because he was so shaken by what he had seen up there. So I would love to find out exactly who that was. That story just kind of ended right there, and I could not find out any information beyond that. But yeah, I'd love to get that person's
Do you think
story.
it's a possibility someday that, you know, I mean, who knows how old he is at this point or whatever.
Right. We get a lot of things as deathbed confessions even.
That's right.
You know, so maybe one day we'll find out.
Yeah, and I wonder, I guess, we can only speculate why it shook them up like that. I mean,
Yeah.
was it the size of it? Was it the, what was it that,
Yeah, just
again, a lot of, it seemed like it was kind of peaceful. Some people said that they looked up and it was like rippling through, like you could see kind of rippling through it.
right, that it was opaque, that you could see
Yeah.
the stars through it. It
Yeah.
looked kind of like water.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and everyone did report the lights that were embedded on the underside of the wingspan.
Yeah.
So that seems to be a common thread.
Yeah.
But yeah, people said it just went super slow, super low, and completely silent.
Right.
And that's the thing that gets me, is the silence of it, because everything, even back in '97, I'm not sure we had technology to do that. Everything we have that has high propulsion is also very loud.
Yes.
Everything that's loud.
Yeah.
So to have something that size, almost hovering, going that slow, and it was very low,
Yeah.
why was there no noise? How come we couldn't hear a thing? No
Yeah.
whirring sound, no humming,
Right.
no big jet engine kind of sound. There was just nothing. So that to me is otherworldly, when you say
Yeah.
that it was completely silent.
Well, when I had my own personal sighting, that's the number one thing that stood out to me, was it was moving and it was perfectly silent.
Yeah.
And
That
I
is
had never
interesting.
heard, I have never really had looked into other UFO sightings, so I never heard anyone talk about that.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. And mine had the one unusual thing, had a plasma blue glow around it. And I've only heard one other person talk about something like that.
Yeah.
So, I have no idea what it was, but to me it felt otherworldly.
Yeah.
It was perfectly round, circle, like a disc. And, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this show for all these years, because that was such a puzzle to me. But the number one thing was the silence. I just couldn't, it
it's
didn't
just
make any
not
sense
normal.
to me.
Right. It's
And then
just
it
not normal.
stopped, like,
Yeah.
and stayed in one place, and then went off at an angle, and I was like,
Do you think it was stopping to observe you?
No, it was in a distance when it stopped,
Okay.
away from me, and then it headed toward Monterey. I was in Carmel Valley, California, and it was heading like toward Carmel, and then it stopped, and then went toward Monterey.
Okay.
And there is a naval school or something in Monterey, so I don't know if it had anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
But it's all.
Interesting.
But I did, I called the 911 because I didn't know what to do. But anyway, I never even thought that there'd be any online reporting of any type. I had no idea.
Right.
So I didn't report it. But over the years, I have looked, and I even forgot exactly the month it was in 2007. But I did find that there, in November of 2007, there was a sighting in the Monterey area.
Yeah.
But they described a cigar shape, so I don't know if it's the same.
You still can report that into MUFON.
I know.
We take old stuff
Maybe I'm
as well
lazy.
as new stuff.
Okay, I should do
and
it.
we have
But
this
now
database.
I can't nail down the date. I
but
didn't,
Maybe a field investigator can.
Yeah.
When they look at that database and compare things, they can find things in the area that were similar, other people that may have seen something similar. So you
Well,
should
I
always
guess
report it in just to see what
All right.
happens.
All right.
Haven't heard anything.
I'll do it. I'll do
Okay.
it.
MUFON.com.
Yeah. I think I know that by now. But anyway, I've had a few other things happen since that time, but I've always been reluctant to say something because, like Travis Walton, maybe, I'm not saying anything like Travis Walton, but I'm afraid I don't want to do anything to affect my credibility.
Right.
So, but I did see what was going across the sky do a zigzag, and there was another incident too. And then one of my UFO sightings on film ended up being explained. And I like that personally. I bet you do too.
Yeah.
When you can figure out.
When we get answers, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many really great things that you don't need to embellish. You don't need to have. All we really want is an answer, right? I mean, that's all that really matters, is to find out what these things are. But so on that line, a lot of people talk about disclosure. That was talked a lot in the last day here. my personal thoughts, I don't really know if we're going to actually hit real disclosure all the way through. What are your ideas on that?
You know, I think it's happening every day in little bits.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You know, it's not disclosure with a big D,
Yeah.
it's disclosure with a little d. And I think that every day we compound on that. I think that things that are happening every day, we put them all together. It might take a really long time until we build this up to what we think is disclosure. And it's a different thing for everyone, too.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
a lot of people, you know, the old adage, oh, yeah, well, when they land on the White House
Right.
lawn, then
Yeah.
we'll have disclosure.
Yeah.
But, you know, they've flown over the Capitol. That really didn't
That
seem
didn't
to
do it.
do much back in '52.
Yeah.
So, but you know, people are seeing things and feeling things every day, and then the experiencers and contactees that we have that are just everywhere, people need to listen to them more. They are basically our experts right now. They have more experience than we do on this subject, and so they need to be heard, they need to be helped. You know, and MUFON has this great experiencer resource team that helps these people to realize they're not crazy, you're not going through this alone. You did see what you saw. Let us document this for you and help you through this so that you can know that what you saw was real and not be so bothered by it anymore.
Does Kathy Martin have an involvement with that?
Yeah, she still does.
Yeah.
She's still involved with that. George Medich is the director for that with MUFON right now, and has a great team under him of, you know, counselors and field investigators and people that can really help.
Now, MUFON, it took a while for MUFON to go down that route.
Yeah.
And it actually, when I started my show, it took me a long time before I actually, you know, I was on the fence about it. And then until I met certain people, like Travis is one of them. And then, you know, the Allagash incident, I met those people, and later Calvin Parker and all these. So, and you know, it's hard not to think like a human when you're trying to think of what these beings could be. But
Yeah.
the human experience would be, if we're going to explore, we're also going to explore the animals or whatever, wherever we're at. You know, the dart to the polar bear, you know, that type of situation. It kind of makes sense, you know, because there's definitely something visiting us. I don't know, I still say I don't know where, if it's actually from another planet or whatever. But it does make sense for them to look at more than just observing us from afar.
Right.
So
Yeah, that probably gets old pretty fast. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think they've tried to integrate themselves with us and find out what's going on. I feel like they might be more like the fish and game department.
yeah,
You know, they see us, they want to know what we're doing, they capture us, they knock us out, they take samples of hair and blood and tissue, they tag us, they turn us loose again, and they monitor us. Fish and game department.
yeah.
You know,
Sounds a
and
lot.
yeah, so we do the same thing with our animals here on this planet, and I think that they're monitoring us, and you know, who knows what their long-term agenda is here. It seems to take
Yeah.
a really long time, but to them, time isn't what we think time is. So
Right.
they've got time.
Yeah.
But
so,
I think that they're learning. You know, they want to learn a little bit about what we are. I don't think they're here to eat us,
yeah.
or it would have happened by now.
Right.
You know, but I think they want to learn from us, and maybe they want us to grow a little bit more so that we can integrate ourselves into that galactic community. But right now we're a little flawed still. So
Yes,
I don't
we
think they
certainly
want
are.
this warlike thing that we
Yeah.
got going on to be out there with them until we grow up just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Yeah.
But speaking of fish and game,
Yeah.
brings me to kind of an odd topic, and that is, let's talk about dolphins. Now, dolphins weren't always in the water. They evolved from the land to the water,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't know that they're
That's what
mammals.
I've heard, yeah.
But they're incredibly intelligent. You know, some
Yeah.
speculate even have more intelligence than people. I don't know, but
Some people for sure, yeah.
do they want to pull? Yeah, some people. Do they want to abduct a dolphin and study that? I mean, you never hear of any other intelligent, semi-intelligent, you know,
Yeah,
beings
and
on the
maybe
earth
they
being
have,
abducted.
you know.
Or cows, I wouldn't call intelligent, you know. And
Not so much, you know, but there's a lot of them,
Yeah.
and they're probably pretty easy to get.
yeah,
So, you know, the
Yeah.
cows and the horses and people for that matter too.
yeah,
You know, there's a lot of us cruising around and big variety of it, so they've got a lot to work with there.
Now we talked, you and I off air, we talked a little bit about David Paulides and, 411, missing 411.
Right.
But you think about, you could speculate with all the many hundreds of thousands of missing people each year that maybe some of them are being abducted and not brought back. You could, but most of the time it's explained, where they are or whatever. But sometimes people just go plain missing and that's it.
Right.
And they're gone for good.
It is a phenomenon. It's really interesting to listen to David talk about the different categories that he's developed for these missing people and the similarities with them. But, and a lot of people know that David started out in Bigfoot research.
Yes.
So a lot of people always ask him during the middle of a lecture, so do you think that Bigfoot is the one that's, getting all these people? And he's like, no, I did not say that.
Yeah.
If you want to correlate that, you go right ahead. But no, I am not saying that.
Yeah.
But the possibilities are there.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
but now I think people are more, and David too, I think, more in the line of this idea of portals being out there, that you can walk through portals at any given moment in time. You just don't know where they're at. We are unable to see them or sense them. Most of us. Some people can. But people may be just walking through portals into another dimension. And maybe sometimes they find their way out of it, or maybe someone boots them back out of it. I'm not sure what, but a lot of these missing people show up again later in the same area that has been searched and searched and searched.
I know, that's so bizarre.
Or they're in that same area, but they happen to be 100 feet up on a rock cliff or in the top of a tree. How'd they get up there?
And a little child, like a
2-year-old.
3-year-old or something,
How does that happen?
Yeah.
So something's going on.
Yeah.
And I really think that there's a lot of interdimensionality out there that we have yet to discover. I mean, the scientists will tell you right now that there's 27 other parallel universes right beside us, other dimensions. We can't see them, we can't access them usually, but they're there.
The brains, I think all brains, not like membranes type of, that's all fascinating to me.
So there's some cool stuff out there that we're just starting to dig into, and I think we'll find some answers.
I had a scientist, Jensine Anderson, PhD, Harvard and all that, very, really an archaeologist and all that, on my show, and I asked her because she's really interested in the UFO topic. She thinks they're extraterrestrial. And so I did mention to her, what do you think about the interdimensional type of thing? And she said that a lot of things, it doesn't work, it doesn't fit. But I brought up cases like, for instance, I'm trying to think of his name right now. Chiramuda, what's his first name, was on my show from the Ariel school incident. And do I want to Jeremy Chiramuda? But I can't remember his first name right now.
One of the children that had experiences there?
And he was saying that the thing was blinking out and blinking ahead of itself, the being, as it was running toward the pool. And she had a scientific explanation that could be other than interdimensional. It's like recreating a folding or something. You'd have to watch the episode to understand it. But I mean, she was a fascinating woman. She's very, very brilliant. And but it was really interesting. That's why I love doing the show, is I like to hear everybody's opinions. And it's such a puzzle. And and it's really interesting to hear. I still think there could be an interdimensionality to it somehow. There could be, not to everything, but But
there could be all kinds of things going on. I mean, I still think that we think of them coming from outer space, but what if they are just a co-indigenous species with us here on this planet? They've been here a lot longer than we have. Maybe they've been housed underground. Maybe they're in our deep abysses of the ocean. I mean, we know so little about that right now. We know more about the surface of Mars than we know about those abysses in our oceans. So I know that's a big field of study right now, and people are really delving into that.
I asked Lou Elizondo when he was on my show, because I heard him on another podcast saying that, what if we're not the top of the food chain? What if we're not, intellectually? What if something's been here all along? Like that. So I asked him to expand on that, and he said he couldn't really talk much more about it. And maybe, people can have an attitude one way or the other about Lou, but maybe he does know something that he can't talk about
I'm sure
freely.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all fascinating to me, and you know, I say often on the show, we probably don't know what's going on around us right now.
Right.
There's
oh yeah.
so much to try to
There's
understand.
so much to it. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
just avenues after avenues of thought, you
Yeah.
know, and different camps of thought, and it's great to look into all of them.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's going to take to find something that works. You know,
Right.
There's a lot of avenues out there. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So the future of, well, getting back to the MUFON in Phoenix, you have to wait until January before you can get the meetings
Right.
going again.
Yeah,
Do you
well-
think your membership will drop off because of the
No,
break?
I think that they'll be really anxious to get back to some meetings because people just love it. You know, it's 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon of not only great education and material, but entertaining. You know, it's
yeah.
entertaining to everyone.
Yeah.
And then they go home and they spread the word with their friends. You got to come with me next time. You know, this is really a great thing. And
Yeah.
so we just have a really good group of people that come back, and I think they're probably going to miss it by then. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
trying to come up with a couple of different things to keep things rolling between now and then.
Yeah.
But
Now
yeah.
I understand the boot camp's on a little bit of a hold, and that may, you know, develop again. But
Yeah.
right now there's
Right. We're just taking a break for a year on the Field Investigator boot camp.
yeah. Now I met someone through the boot camp that I visited.
Uh-huh.
I really loved it. I thought it was very, you know, just so interesting to hear all these different ways of investigating.
Yeah.
And you know, hopefully you'll do this again.
Yeah.
And Mark D'Antonio was involved. He was there as well. He's a good friend. But Denise, who I interviewed there, she had an amazing sighting when she was 15. She's now a co-director, I believe, of New York MUFON,
Okay.
and
be,
or something like that. No, I think she's chief investigator of MUFON New York. That's what it
Okay.
is. So she's going to. I know she's going to listen to this podcast. She listens to the podcast. So,
Yeah.
but in a little shout out to you, Denise.
Yeah. Good job, Denise.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So that was just like 3 or 4 years ago, I do believe. So she's done pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
the boot camp's fun. You know, a lot of people love it and they keep asking about it, you know, and
Yeah.
and we've got, you know, instructors for those classes there that teach on advanced interviewing techniques,
Yes.
healthy versus unhealthy mental states,
Yes.
photo analysis,
Yeah.
how to do the cases quickly and efficiently, and you know, and how to get to the people. So we have a lot of great topics there, along with the forensic field work that we do in the afternoons out in the desert. So that's always really fun, and that's, you know, taught by some of the best, which is John Dover and Stan
Oh, yes.
Milford,
Yes.
former Arizona Navajo Rangers.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're, you know, great at what they do, and they just make it really fun with all their different stories that they have from the Navajo reservation as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a fun 3 days.
Yeah.
We'll bring it back.
Now I'm going to talk to you about you doing investigation. Do you do investigations yourself?
I don't do any right now because I'm the state director.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I do have 22 field investigators here in Arizona under me.
Yeah.
And so I get the cases in, and then I assign the cases to those field investigators. So
Yeah.
we've got just, you know, a great team of people that really know what they're doing.
And what's the activity like?
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we have category 3 cases, which are things that could be abductions or things that are so close that, you know, they had close contact. So we've got everything from lights in the sky to, you know, orbs, anything you could imagine we've got coming in.
Yeah.
And we cover it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot of
And what do you think about the orbs? It seems like almost a different category than the nuts and bolts type of craft.
Yeah, you know, I think that they're more intelligence. They are intelligently controlled.
That's what everyone seems to think. I mean, that's what you hear.
You know, electric, something is transferring into these orbs, and they are just manifesting themselves and cruising around and showing themselves, and it looks like they're very interested in people and what people are doing.
Now, do you think that could be a
So-
technology? I mean, not a technology. Do you think that could be what Lou Elizondo is talking about? Something that's been here all along and may have a higher intelligence
It
than us?
could be. It could be, or it could be something as simple as a scout coming to
Yeah.
check things out before something else comes to check us out.
Yeah.
We just don't know yet. We know that it happens all the time. People are seeing them in all colors, all speeds, all just everything. So orbs
Yeah.
are a big deal. Yeah.
I remember, I believe his name was Terry Ray, wrote a book about orange orbs. I haven't heard much from him lately out
Yeah.
there, but I had him on my show, and he had so many stories about the orange orbs.
Yeah.
And you say different colors. I ran in. I've talked about this a number of times, but I sat next to an American Airlines pilot. This was right after the New York Times article came out. I mean, immediately after, like a week after. And I asked him if he had happened to see that article about the, the government looking into UFOs. You know, we were in a general conversation, and he said, "No, I missed that." He says, "But they exist." And I love when people say that, because I'm going to follow up and say, "Oh, do tell me."
Yeah.
And so he
Especially the pilots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was an Air Force pilot. He was an F-16. I think that's F-16 pilot in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was doing a long distance relocate of an F-16. And he said all of a sudden this green orb showed up and was next to him. And he says his weasel, the weapons operator, was sound asleep in the back. And I've talked to other pilots who said that's very unusual, even if it's just a relocate. They shouldn't be sleeping,
Yeah.
the guy shouldn't have.
Right.
And he said he didn't wake him up. And the thing followed him for 300 miles and lit up the cockpit bright green. It was extremely bright green.
Yeah.
And then right before it shot off, and then it was gone. And he said, he goes, "There's no way I was going to report that."
Yeah.
He said, "I just never reported
Right.
it." I asked him, I said, "Would you mind being on, can I interview you for my show?" He said, "Absolutely not." I said, "How about," and I said, "I never do this, but how about anonymously?" He said, "Absolutely not. Not
Yeah.
interested."
Oh yeah, the stigma is
Yeah.
so high out there between the pilots and a lot of first responders too. I mean, they're seeing stuff, but
Yeah.
they're not reporting it in.
But I think it's less. I think there's been a bit of a sea change in that.
Yeah, it's become more mainstream.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially with everything that the military's been putting out.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff we've been seeing on TV, and the Pentagon's talking about it, and the
Yeah.
congressional hearings, and so it's become very mainstream. And if
I
they can
believe
get
so.
like an amnesty program in place for these people to come forward without,
Yes.
being charged with anything, that's going to change a lot of things. But
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
hope
I,
so.
Personally myself, I was very afraid to talk about this professionally. And right now, this point in my life, I really don't care that
Yeah.
much. I'm still a professional fine art appraiser, and I still go into houses, but I'm not worried so much about talking about it. And if I'm in a conversation that feels right, I'll talk about it.
Because now the great thing is when someone says, "What? You believe in that stuff?"
Yeah.
And then you can say, "Do you ever watch the
government.
news?
Yeah.
Do you ever watch the news? Have you
Yeah.
seen what's been going on for the last 7 years?"
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
a really valid thing to come back with, because
It is.
there's
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff out there. And if you're not aware of what's going on, then sorry, you're just the uneducated one right now. Sorry.
Yeah, I was in a mixed company, and I was in mixed company in the antiques world, and I was at an antiques fair, and there was some young girls all involved in this company called Worth Point, and I had an association with them, and we were traveling around the country, and doing appraisal clinics and things like that. It was a lot of fun, and so the one guy that I've known for the longest. He called me up one day and he said, "Oh my God, you have a show on UFOs?" And I said, "Yeah." This was back in like 2013, 14. And I said, "Yeah," and then so he told me about his sighting. He had quite an amazing sighting where, everyone reacts differently.
Yeah.
And his friends that were with him at the time will not talk about it, even to this day. But he had a very negative experience, a negative feeling.
Yeah.
Like this thing felt harmful and it was right above them. And so anyway, he and I started talking about it in this mixed group. And they were all saying, you guys are absolutely nuts, absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And then the CEO of Worth Point was there, and he said, "Oh yeah, I had a sighting, my son and I, blah, 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 and all this stuff." But it's kind of like, these were younger girls and say, you guys are crazy. You don't hear, that was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. You don't hear that as often now.
You don't, because the media is so full of this stuff, especially how many years has Ancient Aliens been on TV? You know, I mean, they've covered everything. All these kids, you know, I work at a really large high school. Okay? These kids all know this stuff. You can't tell them that. They know about it. They know about all this. So they're growing up with this. They've got a basic understanding of what's going on. They don't question it so much anymore.
Right.
So I think things are really changing. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't tell people, I don't just go out there and tell people what I do either. But if someone were to come up to me and say, hey, did I see you on TV the other day? And something like, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You know, and then they'll want to ask about it.
Yeah.
But it's the skeptics out there, like, you know, the people, the Worth Point situation, where they're going to laugh at you and ridicule you, but wait until something happens that they hear on the news. You're the first person they're going to call and say, hey, what was that? What was that they saw in the sky the other day? And then you can say, oh, so now you want to know about that. Now you're interested in that. So they are, but it's just really hard for people to come out and say, yeah, I kind of believe in that, but I think it's just because they don't know much about it. If they were to know a little bit about it, that's what piques their interest.
Well, my real friends from long ago accept me for the way I am and everything. So I have this, my very best friend named John. He was out here in Sedona, and he got all excited because, you know, he's not at all into the UFO topic, but he got all excited because he was thinking he was seeing a UFO, and he's like taking pictures and like, oh my God, and all this, found out it was Starlink.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a great one though. I saw that for the first time. I was up at the Grand Canyon actually, and saw it fly over. So super dark skies. And everyone else I know had seen it already, except for me. You know, I mean, we've covered millions of reports on it because MUFON gets reports on Starlink all the time. But I had not seen it, and when I finally did, I'm like, wow, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I did film it.
It's amazing.
I was. It's funny because the two major sightings I've had in my life. One was a fireball that was incredible, really incredible, and then the next thing was my UFO thing, both in a hot tub, and then, well, last year, the year before, in my hot tub in South Carolina and watching Starlink over. I did film it. It was crazy because it's like one thing after another, after another, after another. But I knew what it was. Now, have you ever had, we'll end on this, have you ever had a UFO sighting?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about it.
From my own backyard, not in the hot tub, but I was just up really late one night, couldn't sleep, decided to walk outside and just kind of look around, and I saw this triangle of stars that I knew didn't belong there, and it was a perfect triangle. And so I'm watching it, and as I'm watching it, one of them just started moving and went all the way around the sky, all the way around, disappeared.
Wow.
So I immediately went back to where I saw that, and another one did the same thing but went around the sky this way. And I'm like, okay, Stacy, you're involved with MUFON. You know that was anomalous. Perhaps you should report that in, you know? So I did, and actually I think I assigned Marianne Robb to that case.
All right.
And she thought I was doing that to like test her in some way. You know, why are you picking on me? And I'm like, I'm not, you know, but we're great friends. We can discuss this, you know? So yeah, I saw a couple of things from my own backyard, just out there randomly looking up at the sky. And I think that's when a lot of things happen, other than if you have a dog and you smoke cigarettes.
Yes,
and
those
you're
are the two biggest.
Walking the dog and having a smoke, then you see something every time.
Yeah, that's what they say. The biggest, you know, reports come from either people smoking or walking their dog.
Yeah, it always starts out with, well, I was walking the dog and having a smoke when I saw, you know. So yeah, it happens a lot.
Excellent. So thanks so much, Stacy. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Thanks for
having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.